It's been said a bard's life can often be a hard life, or hill and jail to rove and always move from town to town. And some folk have inquired if ever we grow tired of ranging all around the world and never settling down.
But one should be a little wary of remaining stationary, 'cause comfortable is lovely, but it's not the way we grow. When life starts to unravel, pick up your pack and travel. You'll find a strange serenity in places you don't know. Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-rat-terry-o-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. You've got no map for showing which direction you are going.
But why start on a journey if you know where it will end?
And once you recognize,
to anticipate surprise, you'll relish every twist and turn that lies around the bend. Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-rat-terry-o-dee-da-dee-da-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. La-da-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. La-da-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. The world has got its demons. There are many reasons why you'd find it harder to be brave than be afraid. But every life could use some danger. Every friend was once a stranger. Ships are safe in harbor, but that's not why ships are made.
Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-rat-terry-o-dee, da-dee, a fwit-da-dee-da-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. La-da-da-da-da-lie-da-lie. Adventures waiting further down the road. Let's go! Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. Lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie-da-lie. La-da-da-da-da-lie-da-lie. La-da-da-da-da-lie-da-lie.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to Gothic Horror Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us this evening or this afternoon or whatever it is where you are. I am currently in Olympia, Washington, so I am not in the same time zone as many of you, and that makes for exciting gameplay on my behalf. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining us as usual. I would like to take a moment to thank our sponsors who have been joining us for the last couple of weeks. Actually, fun things. So first I would like to give a shout out to 3D2U, our friends of the channel. They're super lovely people, and I thankfully, because one of the people who runs 3D2U is also a forensic analyst and has a master's in forensic science, I was able to consult her today regarding today's game. So that was super exciting. But you can definitely check out all of their awesome stuff. They have dice towers and books and all kind of information. And they will be appearing at a couple of different local festivals in the New Jersey area. So please definitely check them out at 3d2u.org, or you can find them on Facebook as well. We would also like to give a shout out to our perennial sponsors, Ren Adventures, who are hosting a D&D thing that's coming up in New Orleans. So for those who are joining us, December 5th through 9th, 2023. I will not personally be joining you, unfortunately, but there will be a really awesome game that will be occurring. I know the Gloom Master, who is also usually on this channel, who is in the background today, will be joining the awesome campaign, which will be super cool. And I believe slots are still available, so feel free to check out renadventures.com if you would like to hang out in New Orleans this winter. And I think that's all of the people that I have to talk about. Oh, us, right. I was like, where's the other advertisements? There's always a third. Thank you. Yeah, so if you would like to support me, you may feel free to check out this really cool book that I wrote. It's called Dare by Melissa Lee, a collection of short fiction and poetry. You can also check us out on Amazon as well as Audible. We have the Audible version up already. And yeah, it's a really cool collection of stuff. I'm very proud of it. And I'm super proud of the Gloom Master for narrating all of it up for me as well. So super cool stuff. Feel free to support our family. Also, if you really, really want, I can include, I have to find the registry link, but I do have a baby registry because I am 6 months pregnant as of today. Yeah. So if anybody would like to send us random baby gifts or would like to check out our registry, we do have a registry for Target. You can also just look it up, I think, as the Baby Z. I think that is our official registry information. So I could include that later on. Anyway, into tonight's adventure. Tonight's adventure is a Delta Green campaign. And I did just bring up, yes, the brand, which is super cool. I believe someone's going to correct me in the comments, but I believe the translation from Latin is science equals death, or death and science, something like that. But yeah, I'm really, really happy that Delta Green has reached out to us and saw that we were doing this really cool information on their channel, and that they really like us. So we are glad for their support. This is a Delta Green campaign, and specifically the really cool thing, which I included in the banners at the bottom. Boop. This is a specific campaign called Death is No Parenthesis. I did not write this, although I am adapting a lot of the material that already exists. This was written by a person called William Shar, and it is available on that information. So if you really, really, really want to check it out beforehand, you are welcome to look ahead if you want to. Otherwise, I highly invite you to just enjoy the playthrough as it exists. I'm adding some of my own details in it, but this is a free source, open source game that people can run on their own if they so choose. And we are very excited that Delta Green and the Fairfield Project put together this game that we could eventually use, because my brain is not firing on all cylinders right now, which is kind of understandable. This is a Delta Green campaign, so it's a horror game. So it's got, yeah, thank you again. So it's got potential for graphic scenes of violence and horror, creatures of common phobias, This one in particular today is going to be investigating a scene of a crime. So you can probably expect descriptions of blood, potential gore, mentions of illicit substances. Those are definitely going to come up throughout this game. So if that is not your flavor, we totally understand. And we invite you to move on to check out all the other really cool content that is on this channel throughout the rest of the week. I don't know if Sonnets to Shakespeare has resumed yet. I know Shakespeare was coming back, but we do have a bunch of regular streaming content that happens throughout the week. So you can always check that out if that's something you're interested in. I think that covers all the stuff. Oh, no, it doesn't. Now I get to tell you how Delta Green works. Delta Green is a D100 based system. This game in particular is set in modern day. It is set today, June 14th. It will be taking place in El Paso, Texas, which you see as the background behind me. It is a real place. It really does exist. If you really want to look up the map quest of where we are going to be taking place today, these are real spaces. They really do exist. I'm happy to be able to use the real world as a playing cool background. That said, in gameplay, everything is based in a D100. So let's say our character, we have an NPC who is a cop, a police officer who is relatively well trained in using firearms. Generally speaking, that would mean that they would have a 40% in firearms. So 40% of the time, whatever they're doing, they are able to shoot their gun and it will accurately discharge and it will accurately hit the target that they are aiming at. There are some additional extra things that we can get into later, like you can do called shots, you can aim. Instead, aim is a great action to take. Let me just mention that. But generally speaking, 40% of the time, this character would make that roll. 40% in this game means you roll a D100, and if it is 40 or below, you have succeeded. If it is 41 or higher, you have failed. Yes, too bad Dana isn't playing this one. Dana, our regular player who constantly is bad at shooting things for whatever reason, no matter what character. I feel so bad. Right. So tonight, if you would like to help the players in any way, you could spend your Twitch points to allow them to get a help. In this particular game, a help means that you will be basically subtracting 5 from your results. So let's say in that case, this person really, really needs to make a shot. They have a 40% chance to hit. So they're going to say, I'm going to take a help. And that means that whatever dice roll they have, the result, they subtract 5 from it. So if they get a 42, but subtract 5, now they have a 37, and that means that they've made the roll versus otherwise they would have failed. So your points can really, really, really help our players depending on what's going on. And these players can use them for a variety of different things. It doesn't have to necessarily be a firearm shot. It could be investigation. It could be trying to, especially in Delta Green, you do fun things like trying to commission a car, or you need to get a drone to observe a specific area, something like that. Sometimes you have to roll bureaucracy. Things like that occur throughout the game as well. And these players can use your helps in pretty much any way that they want. Other than that, other house rules are double digits are either a critical success or a critical failure, depending on where you are on the side. So if you got a 44 in the case of the firearms, you would be critically failing. If you got a 33, that would be a critical success. The only time something critically succeeds, no matter what your result is 69, because nice. And because I learned this from actual military people, and they all think that that's still a joke. They're all in their 30s. Don't ask me why. Anyway. Yeah. So let me set a little bit of the scene here. And I'm not going to go into it too much because we're going to reveal some information as we get our players into the game. But I can tell you that it is taking place in El Paso, Texas. It is Wednesday, June 14th. As of right now, the biggest crisis that is generally happening in El Paso is an anticipated surge of migrants that are trying to cross the border. That's always at the top of everyone's concerns. Also at the top of everyone's concerns is the Sinaloa cartel, which is the largest cartel in Mexico. It is generally based in Mexico City, but there are branches all over the place. And there is a lot of drug activity, which is part of the reason why people are concerned about migrants crossing the border, is there is a lot of drug activity that goes across El Paso's border, being so close to Mexico. So it is a desert city. So in June, you can probably look up the temperature right now if anybody wants to, but I'm going to anticipate even in the evening, we shall say, as it is in El Paso, let's call it it's 9:15 on the West Coast, on the East Coast, rather. I should say it's probably 7:15. So the sun's starting to set, but I would assume desert environment, it's probably close to 100 degrees. It is a hot, dry place. Yeah, it's intense. There we go. 94 degrees to be precise as of right now at 8:15 p.m. Thank you, Sir David. I've never quite, because Texas is like 2 separate time zones. It's so huge. Yeah, so we are calling it that it is 8:15 Wednesday, June 14th, and it is 94 degrees out, and all of these players are going to be getting a call from someone. So let's first bring in Leah Anderson. I think it's Leah.
Yeah, you're right.
Leah, why don't you introduce yourself to all of our Twitch streamers and give us a little bit of information about maybe why you joined Delta Green or what strange things you've observed in the past that might have led you to this space.
Great. Can I explain probably where I am as well, or is that something you'd like?
Yes, that would be great. And especially if you have any information about your job, that's probably going to become relevant very soon as well.
Great. So in probably the diviest dive bar that Texas, El Paso, Texas has probably seen in quite a while, called Gasoline Ray's, which does exist, just fun fact, sits about a mid-30s woman with brown hair, kind of tanned, definitely still in that I have a work uniform, but I'm off the clock right now, so my jacket's gonna be slung over the chair next to me. I have a drink in my hand. I'm, giggling with somebody sitting next to me. I'm Leah Anderson. I am an FBI drug investigator, off the clock currently, hanging out with my best friend Louise, who we both grew up together. I have a vested interest in keeping my community safe, especially from a lot of the drug cartels coming across the border. Because, listen, we've seen some things, and not just the mindless violence that comes with drugs and their, cartelling or whatever, but maybe something a little bit of the unusual and not human, we'll say.
Interesting. I love that take. Yeah, so while you are
cartelling.
This is my favorite word. Thank you.
You can call me Shakespeare, it's fine.
Cartelling. So while you are sitting down, you are hanging out with Luis, you are generally having a good time. You've probably been off the clock for a little while now, especially FBI. They tend to be able to, based on my friend who actually does FBI stuff, you can somewhat declare your own hours depending on what your specialty is. But it isn't unusual for you to get a phone call and your cell phone lights up as a it's not listed, but it's definitely an area code that you would assume would be associated with the general FBI offices that take place in Texas. I don't know that they're specifically based out of El Paso. They might be based out of Houston, but there is an FBI office that is located somewhere nearby that is calling you.
Great. I looked at my screen and I'm like, I look at Louise and I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta take this, hun. And I answered, I'm like, what?
Oh, hello, this is Leah Anderson I'm speaking with right now.
It sure is.
Great. And this happened in the last game and I kind of liked it. Do you have a call and response for Delta Green specifically? Do you have a secret phrase that someone would tell you and then you have a specific response to it?
Probably. It would be something fairly dumb. I don't know, like pina colada, I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down. So the person on the other end says, do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain?
You know, I sure do. I don't remember the rest of these lyrics right now, but yeah, I do.
Perfect. I'm gonna write that down. So the person on the other end says, okay, thank you for picking up today, Leah. I am I have a situation on my hands. My name is well, you can call me Handler Zeitlin. I'm based out of Houston. And I have a situation that has come up in your general area. It's in El Paso. I can send you the specific address. But if you can make it out there by 10 p.m. tonight, we have a situation. What I am at liberty to tell you over the phone is that the Sinaloa cartel was initially thought to be involved. An investigation in that area went awry, and we are cleaning up the situation, and things have taken an interesting turn. I could really use your expertise in pina coladas to get this particular situation under control.
Right. All right. I'll be there as soon as I can. Yeah.
Interesting thing for you, Leah, you may be somewhat aware of what this handler is talking about as he hangs up. There was meant to be a drug raid outside of El Paso in the last 2 days. It started on Monday, and then you were made aware that their situation had escalated. You were almost initially called in 24 hours ago. The cartel that was there fought back after an intense fight. 4 people were killed in the crossfire, and eventually a officer was wounded, but he was taken to the hospital, and he is expected to make a full recovery. That was the last thing that you heard about it. So it's a little interesting that they're contacting you now after you had assumed almost 24 hours additional have taken place since the initial attempt at the arrest.
Okay, great. I think I stand up from my chair. Knowing that I probably didn't drink a ton. My friend Louise, in fact, is probably a little toasted by now. We start early. We go to bed early because we're responsible. But
it is a Wednesday.
Exactly. Listen, it's a work day. It's fine. But I definitely turn to him and I'm like, all right, I'm going to be back. How you getting home, buddy? And he'll probably, pull up Uber on his phone. I assume that exists in Texas. And I'm
El Paso for sure. Yeah.
Great. I've never been to Texas. Woo! But I will probably go and try to make my way. I assume I have some sort of a vehicle, either a personal vehicle or given to me by the FBI, and I will start making my way over.
Okay, great. The next player I would like to address for the time being is, let's bring in Dr. Winters. I am curious to see his take on this situation. Hello, I'm probably going to burp here. I apologize.
What a great start.
Yes. So Dr. Winters, please describe who you are, where you're located, what your occupation is, and anything you think is relevant to Delta Green specifically.
Excellent. I am a resident doctor at Whittington Hospital in Highgate. I'm from Great Britain, so there will be a lot of a British accent tonight. I was trained at Whittington, and while I was there, I saw some things I should not have seen, and I handled it very well. So I more or less got recruited into Delta Green that way.
Great. We would normally call that Red In, which is awesome. What do you think that you are doing at 8:15 on a Wednesday night?
Technically speaking, 8:15 to me translates to 1:15 in the morning in Great Britain.
Oh,
so
do you feel like if you've been here for a while, do you feel like you're still thinking in terms of Great Britain? Do you go visit there often?
Probably. Because I still work there, but I have been sent to El Paso. Well, I'm not quite sure why I'm here.
Ooh. Let us say you've probably come under a relatively reasonable reason. It's probably more like I don't know.
Outreach.
Yeah, outreach program, or Do you have any surgeries or specialties that you're really involved in?
A lot of psychology, in fact. So I'm probably helping displaced immigrants and people trying to get into the country adapt and making sure they have vaccinations, all of that up to speed.
Sure. That's a great idea. And possibly, I mean, a lot of people are aware that in America that there were people in cages. So you may be dealing with the fallout of some of that, where
Mhm.
there are people who have now been released and are dealing with a lot of psychological fallout. So you are probably working with a translator on a regular basis to, unless, do you speak Spanish?
I do not.
Okay. So you are probably working with a lot of people who are younger, who are dealing with the trauma and fallout of being held captive for an extended period of time on the border. Like your job is probably not easy, and they are probably very lucky to have you in El Paso right now.
God, America's great.
Yes.
I love being in this country.
Thank God you're getting shipped back at some point.
Exactly.
So, while you are probably on a break from speaking with somebody, maybe a regular patient that you have at this point in rotation, your phone lights up. It's almost like there's like or you have an Apple Watch, right? So maybe
I
it's
have
on your
both.
watch. Yes. So your maybe your phone lights up, and you would recognize. It's sort of similar to Leah. It might be a it's coming up on your phone as like government, maybe blocked, but government. So yeah, you get a phone call.
Hello, this is Winters.
Good evening, Dr. Winters, I presume.
Yes. Well said.
Do you have a call sign or a call and response for your particular person?
Do I have plans for dinner?
Great. Just writing that down. Dr. Winters, I was wondering if you have plans for dinner.
I do not have plans for dinner. Were you thinking of going somewhere?
I was specifically thinking of taking you at about 10:15 out into El Paso, just beyond in the south. I can give you the address and send it directly to your phone. I will let you know that this is somewhat related to the Sinaloa cartel and an FBI raid. Things have gone a little bit sideways, and we could really use your expertise for dinner.
Fantastic. Let me pack a few things and just text me the address.
Sounds good. And then they hang up.
Yay, this again.
Do you feel like you get these calls a lot?
At the
I am
weirdest times, usually when I'm sleeping.
Good point. Yeah, is there anything that you feel like, now given that you have to go outside of El Paso, and you said you wanted to grab a couple of things, right? Going sideways. Who knew? Is there anything that you specifically want to grab? Things that you want to have on your person?
Of the things I would probably take with me would be a first responder kit. I always have a concealed gun and a knife on me at some point, hidden somewhere. My phone, my watch, the basics.
Okay. Great. So you are able to get those things together, and you can make your way to the address that is listed.
Excellent.
And then I finally have my new friend, Coyote Jones. I'm very excited to meet. I love this. So Coyote Jones, why don't you describe yourself and potentially where you're located right now, and maybe how you got started in Delta Green.
All right, Coyote Jones is at around 8:30 at night on a Wednesday, seated at Los Banditos de Carlos and Mickey's, having right outside of Fort Bliss, enjoying their famous carnitas pork tips and a frozen margarita.
Of course.
Because what else do you do on a Wednesday night? He is about 5'10", very short cropped hair, dressed in
all black, very basic, unassuming uh, attire. Um, he currently works with a special operations group called Cemetery Watch, in charge of monitoring and extracting high profile hostages and assets along the US Mexico border. And with the migrant surge coming in, there's been a lot of chatter of potential uh, kidnappings and whatnot that Cemetery Watch may need to get involved in. So he and his battalion have been temporarily moved from the New Mexico office to Fort Bliss to be closer on hand in case anything should go awry.
That's excellent. So you may also have just at least gotten some basic information that there was an FBI raid that was going on recently just outside of El Paso related to the Sinaloa cartel. You probably didn't hear much after that. No guarantees that you would have had the intel, unless you really looked into it, of what's been going on and how that raid proceeded. In your line of business, probably no news is good news. So like,
Very
oh,
true.
okay. Yeah, seems like things worked out okay. And then, you get a call on your phone. It is a blocked number, but it is in some way indicated that it is a government blocked number. Do you have a call and response? I'm curious.
Are you afraid of ghosts?
Ooh. Reading that out. Do you answer it? I am curious.
I look at it, kind of roll my eyes for a moment, take another sip of my margarita, and then answer. This is Coyote Jones.
Good evening, Coyote Jones. Are you afraid of ghosts?
No, the living tend to be far more problematic. What can I do for you?
My name is, you can call me Handler Zeitlin. I'm based out of the Houston office of the FBI. As you may be aware, we had a Sinaloa cartel raid that went down in the last 2 days. Things went a little bit differently than we were expecting, and I am sending a address to your personal device. We would love for you to join us at 10:15 to assess an interesting situation that has come up.
Interesting situation. Roger that. I will be there.
Thank you.
Hang up. Sigh. I need the rest of this to go.
You know, I have been in Texas long enough at times to know that, they are almost Louisiana level in terms of drive-through daiquiris. So, yes, you could probably get your drink to go.
I'll wait for them to package up my order, leave a nice tip, and head out to my car, pause, check the trunk, make sure my gear bag is in there with my tactical equipment.
I was going to say, you've got an array. Do you bring everything with you? Or okay.
It stays in the bag in the trunk just in case.
Given the situation. Cool.
And then head on to the address.
All right. So for anyone who wants to check it out, I'm going to put it in the comments. Oops, I spelled that wrong. This is a relative location. Technically, it is a crossroads, 2300 Ascension Drive. It is just south of El Paso, Texas. And I will show you a little bit of what it looks like. Bloop. So there's a little dot in the center of the screen, and that's basically where it is. You were just on the other side of the border from Mexico, but there is not much out there. Let me see if I can pull up. I need to add an additional overlay. I just have to find the actual picture. But yeah, so all three of you make your way to the area. And you all pull up relatively around the same time. There are, when you arrive, you are kind of almost like checked, like kind of passed through the area initially by an FBI agent on the outside. You basically, you were given the address and basically just a like a picture or something that said like, okay, I'm here to see Officer Zeitlin. So you are all able to make your way further in. What you see when you first arrive is kind of a shack. It's not a big house. It is a wooden house, probably at most 700 square feet. It looks like it might all be kind of one room. It has a metal roof. It has not really much to it. You can tell that this scene has certainly been cleaned up recently. So there are a number of agents that are still kind of milling about, but probably only 3 or 4. This isn't necessarily an active scene. You may also notice that there are a number of tire tracks that have come into this area and left. So there's probably only 2 or 3 cars left in the area at this point, especially this late at night. There's still some floodlights that have been set up. So there are big floodlights facing the house. It's very obvious that you can look into the house. And there are lights on in the house itself. Anybody? Yeah, we'll do a first perception roll of the evening. So everybody roll me not necessarily a search, what I want to call this. This would be a an alertness roll, which is on the left-hand side of your character sheets. Just sort of giving you an idea of what you're potentially looking at based on your own expertise. Leah, judging by your face, I'm presuming that didn't necessarily go great for you.
It's a 78. I almost got it.
Yeah. Aw.
That is a 41 for me.
Okay. Is that success for you then, Coyote?
That is a success for me.
Great. Dr. Winters?
67, that is not a success for me.
Okay. So Leah, as you're rolling in, what you notice is that clearly there were a bunch of people here at some point. They're not here anymore. To you, it just looks like a wrapped up crime scene. You're kind of surprised that someone would be calling you in here right now. Dr. Winters, sort of similarly, you're not necessarily well-versed in crime scenes, but you are relatively well-versed in just trauma scenes. This looks like it's been pretty much taken care of. There are some indications you can see by the front door where clearly someone was probably shot at some point. So there's like stains on the floor on the little front porch. But it looks like everything's been kind of cordoned off and cleared out. You might even see, like little, I don't know if they collect those, but like little evidence markers. Yeah, the little numbers that sit around. There's a couple of those on the front porch, but that's basically what you guys are seeing. Sorry, you may find yourself in a shotgun shack. Sorry. Coyote, you are checking the scene out. You, especially with some of the extractions that you've done recently, this looks somewhat similar to what you would be expecting in a kind of extraction situation. It's way bloodier than you would have expected. That chances are whoever was in this place did not survive coming out of it. What's unique to you is that you can see inside the house and everything in there. You're a little bit more unnerved that you're being called to a scene that looks like it's pretty much been wrapped up. That's putting you a little bit more on edge than usual. That clearly there was a shootout at some point and something happened. So what's going on that you're needed here after all of the action has died down?
Yeah. Cody's gonna park his car and after looking around, go back to his trunk. open his bag, pull out his tactical vest, grab his Glock, strap it in, close the trunk. And... Okay.
You are over prepared at this point, which is not a bad thing. I'm trying to find. Oh, I know where that is. I think it's on my desktop because it is a screenshot. There it is. All right, I just have to drop it in. Give you guys an idea of where you are, just for ideas' sake. It is 10 o'clock at this point. The only real ambient light that's going on is the light that is coming from either the floodlights at the house or the lights that are on inside. There's a generator that's nearby that seems to still be running currently. And did I get to... Nope, not that. There we go. I'm gonna pull this up and show you as soon as it loads. This area of Texas is open nothingness. This is the only thing that's out there. Ta-da! There it is. So basically, if you were to go down Ascension Drive, Ascension is like the main road. You have turned off onto this dirt road on the left. And as you can see, and you can pull this up on Google Maps if you really feel like it, there is nothing out there for miles. You are in the dead end of absolutely nowhere. So there's probably at this point in the time of night, you can start to hear coyotes howling in the distance. You may have seen some animal tracks where you were coming up here. This is a very remote area. And especially for those of you who have some drug or cartel knowledge, it would be an ideal place to have some kind of space for drug running, for whatever you illicit dealings in the middle of nowhere. Texas is full of spaces like this. As the three of you are exiting your vehicles, you are approached by a large, like 6'3", 6'4", yes, plus scorpions and spiders. A large, heavy-set white guy, looks Eastern European, and younger, probably mid-30s. And he addresses all three of you. Friends, thank you so much for joining us. You can call me Officer Zeitlin. I will be your handler for this case. Let me fill you in on some details. And you sort of see his face like he's concentrating and also like he's tired. He's been here a while. Probably a little bit dusty. He's got like tactical pants, but they are not the same color brown as when he first got here. And he looks worn out. All right, we got a situation here. 2 days ago, we were called for an anonymous tip for the Sinaloa cartel. Officer Anderson, you may be aware that the Sinaloa has been operating out of this area, out of El Paso. This is nothing new. We were specifically told that a particular operative named Sepulturero was potentially at this location at the time. We proceeded with caution and came in. We were met with resistance, and after roughly 24 hours, unfortunately, this turned into a shootout situation. 4 people were killed in the process. An officer was injured. Fortunately, we were lucky that that was the only injury on our side of the situation. However, I can tell you that the person who, that Sepulturero, so far as we are aware, was not amongst the bodies that we have collected. And something interesting came up. We were aware and were shot at by 4 separate individuals. All of those people were accounted for, and the final outcome of this situation. When we then entered the house, which you see in front of you, we found a 5th body on the floor. This doesn't necessarily surprise us. However, what has been unfortunate for me in particular, and the reason why you are called in today. I identified that body as a person who we know as El Echo. He is the lead member of a different cartel that is currently at war with Sinaloa, at least at the location that we are in right now. And I killed him 2 weeks ago. I even checked in with my associate who is at the morgue. That body is still there. I don't know what's going on, and I'm frankly disturbed. I could use your expertise in this situation. I am still tied up currently with the investigation into the general shootout, the paperwork that's involved with that. But I will do my best to assist you where I can. Obviously, this needs to be discreet, and we need to determine what exactly is going on here and why 2 of the exact same person have been killed 2 weeks apart.
If you killed this man, El Echo, does the body that you found have the same death wounds?
No. This body was stabbed to death, seemingly, when we collected it. It looked like it had multiple stab wounds. The El Echo that I was responsible for, and I can send you this report if you'd like.
Yes, please.
I had encountered along the Mexico border about 2 weeks ago, and they perished by gunshot wounds at that time.
Out of curiosity, where is the most recent body located now?
We've taken all of them down to a separate morgue outside of El Paso. I kind of wanted an objective person to look at these corpses to ensure that I'm not going crazy and that there's no instance of twins or any other strange scenarios. But so far as we are aware, with the intel that we had, the person known as El Echo is a singular individual. We've always heard a lot of rumors that they were unkillable, that they were immortal, that they were beyond God. I didn't really give any credence to things like that. You hear a lot of stuff like that with the superstitious. Unfortunately, here we are.
Right. All right. And just to confirm your 4 Sinaloas that were killed, as far as we are aware, they are not already deceased?
So far as we are aware, no. We have not completely identified any of these individuals. My best guess is that they were probably low-level cartel members. It's interesting to find El Echo at their location, given that this was supposed to be for a rival cartel's, potential drug safe zone. It didn't exactly surprise me that he was stabbed to death when I found him. It's entirely possible that Sepulturero ordered his execution inside of this house, but I don't know why we were called to the scene and if any of these individuals had anything to do with what's going on.
Right. Was there anything else weird about the house when you found him, or just, fire zone as usual?
I think you'll notice, and we haven't quite figured it out yet, when you enter the house, there are occasions where your devices may act up a bit. We're not entirely sure what's causing that interference. Yes, doppelgangster. We're not entirely sure what's causing that interference. There could be an electromagnetic field out here that we're not aware of. We haven't quite figured it out. Obviously, our top priority was to bring the deceased in and to identify those bodies and make sure that we know exactly what's going on, informing relatives as necessary,
Right.
making sure we know these people are citizens of the United States, all of that kind of garbage.
Yeah.
We also did seize a large amount of drugs.
Mm.
Leah, you may be aware that there is it's not necessarily a new drug. It's an adaptation of a 90s street drug. At that time, I believe, I don't know what they're calling it now. I think they're calling it Echo. I think at the time before it might have been called something else. I'll give you that information when I find it.
Great. Okay.
It's a weird drug. The people that use it, they space out way more than a lot of the other people I encounter. It's just as addictive as heroin, but they're having a really strange trip off of it. We've only encountered a couple of people that have been using. It seems like the group Los Echos, who has a person in charge called El Echo, produces Echo almost exclusively, and that's been really bothering Sinaloa. They don't like designer drugs coming in, and this thing goes for a hefty price on the market.
All right. Okay.
I can clear out my people and give you the space to investigate the house for as long as you like. If you need any other information, please let me know.
Sure.
I will keep, unless you so choose, I will keep 2 officers here to just watch your backs. Not anticipating any other activity, but there are coyotes in the area, and nobody really wants them to get that close.
Great. Sounds good to me. As long as it sounds good to you two.
Perfect.
Sounds fantastic.
All
right, friends, I will clear everybody out, and you now have my cell phone if you need to access anything. For now, I'm going to go back and get some sleep, and if I find out any more information, I'll let you know.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So Zeitlin just wraps up all of his people. There are 2 nondescript, probably Hispanic American officers that are going to be stationed outside in a single vehicle. They are instructed not to interfere with your investigation, and you are welcome at any point to enter the house.
Great. I want to do a preliminary investigation check or whatever that's called. Search, I guess.
Yeah. Do you want to search outside of the house or inside of the house?
I'd like to do outside first.
Sure. Yeah, you are welcome to do a search. If the other 2 of you would like to also roll search rolls, you are welcome to do so.
Absolutely.
I rolled the exact same thing I did earlier, and that's
no.
a fail.
Aw. Oh, dang.
I got a 23, which is a success for me.
Nice.
I got a 16, which is also a success.
Awesome. So Leah, you're walking around, you're kind of observing the same thing that you had done before, especially now given this extra information about Sinaloa and the echoes. You're having an ideas like kind of spinning in your head of like what could be causing this, there's a war going on and I didn't realize it and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. You are aware that there was, absolutely what Zeitlin is telling you is correct. There was definitely a shootout. It mostly occurred at the front of the house. You can see broken glass all in the front windows. You can think of it like as shack-like as you would like. It is when you look at the house, there's a door in the center. There's a window on either side. At some point, those windows may have had like boards kind of put up to try to give them extra places to hide. That didn't necessarily work. The windows are broken out entirely. It's not a great looking house anyway. It's not super well insulated. Like this it's super old. It was probably built in the 70s. And you can trace, there's tons of bullet holes all over this. At this point, everything's probably been mostly picked up. A lot of the rounds and the casings are already picked up. You're careful to avoid any still dropped tags for information. But chances are at this point, this far through the investigation, everything's been photographed, everything's been taken in. You're just doing your best not to disturb what already is there.
Okay.
Dr. Winters, when you are observing just the outside of the house, you can take a look around. Yeah, same kind of thing. It is a old house, not well insulated. There was definitely a shootout on the front porch. There's a lot of blood. What's interesting to you is it almost looks like there's too much blood. Like, not only did somebody potentially bleed out on this porch, it looks like there's like way more than there should be for just 4 potential individuals. Ooh, thank you, Monroe Max. We appreciate you. Coyote, you looking around at everything. As you're walking around, you're observing that, yeah, you have your phone out and your phone starts to kind of glitch every once in a while. It's like having a harder time bringing up stuff that you're looking at. You're trying to take your own pictures and some of them are coming out a little weird, or it just takes longer for your phone to do what it's supposed to do. And that's very unusual, especially you probably have more than anyone here, even including a doctor, the top of the line cell phone that is probably, relatively speaking, indestructible. So it's very odd that your device is acting up, given what's going on. And then you tested a couple of times, you walk away from the house, things seem fine. So it's really the proximity of the house that is causing your device to act up.
Interesting. I don't like that. Don't like it at all.
I'm sure you don't.
I'm gonna make my way back over to the other two and gonna hold up my phone like yeah, what Zeitlin said is pretty accurate. I stepped within about 5-10 feet of this house and phone starts going wonky. As soon as I step even a foot back, clears back up.
Interesting.
So, if you got to make a phone call, I suggest you make it before we go inside.
Sure.
I want to try something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to take a photo of all the blood I see.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
to see what happens.
Sure. You are able to do it. It takes you 3 tries. And it's weird
Gotcha.
that it would take you that long to do. And yeah, you're basically experiencing the same thing that Coyote is describing. It just takes a while for your phone to focus, which is unusual. It takes a while for the picture to actually come through, which is unusual. But when it does come through, it does work.
Gotcha. So electronics are being affected, and the amount of blood I found here, this is more than 4 bodies worth of blood.
Oh.
That's
Okay.
a lot. So there's definitely a reason we were all called in.
Sure. Sure.
Well, we figured any of that extra blood might be from the stabbed zombie El Echo.
That's also true.
So I guess that depends if that blood, depending on how close his stabbed body was to that front door.
Do you want to go inside?
You know, might as well.
Hey,
Kind of like the present. So
Great. So you go inside, and I wish I could like draw this. It's a square. As you come in, there is, all things considered, not a bad looking space. Yes. Your answer is yes.
yes.
You come in immediately. It's basically furnished like a studio. So there is a off to your left is a an old couch, probably from the 70s. There's a side table. There's a TV. Definitely not top of the line, but it is a flat screen. It used to be. It's got a lot of bullet holes in it now.
oh.
In the back left corner is the kitchen. It's just a galley along the wall. There is a small table in front of it that has a couple of chairs. You will notice that there are normally 4 chairs. 3 of the chairs are around the table. The other chair is in the center of the room. And it is immediately disturbing to notice that this chair is covered in terrible stains. That is probably more than likely where the other body was. On the right-hand side of the room, up toward the front, is a double bed with well, now it's covered in a lot of glass, but it has like an old comforter, or like a quilt with a lot of roses all over it. And then in the back right-hand corner is a walled-off area that is clearly the bathroom. There's a door that's open that has a small, just standard-sized basic tub and shower combo with a toilet in it as well. Everything in here is, relatively speaking, kind of shot up, but it was probably okay beforehand.
Well, I think it's safe to say that our zombie was not at the front door because he gestures towards the chair.
I'd certainly say so.
Actually, though, to verify, I'm going to look and see, is there a blood trail from the chair to the front door?
No, actually, based on your general knowledge of these kinds of situations, this chair has probably still a couple of markers sitting on it as well. And it clearly had a lot of blood came out of whatever was sitting in this chair. So chances are it probably, whoever was in this chair exsanguinated inside of it. You don't see any additional struggle marks or anything. There's some remnants of duct tape on the back of the chair, but it also looks like it was probably taken by the sweep team that came through and gathered evidence.
I wish we had gotten their photos before they left.
I'm sure maybe our dear handler can get us that information later.
Yeah,
Sure.
they can probably send that to you.
I also wonder if they didn't run any DNA tests on our most recent El Echo and the previous El Echo just to make sure that all matches. But
It's a good question.
I'm sure, I could step outside and probably text our dear friend if that's helpful. I think I'll go do so. I'm going to go and text him or call him and be like, hey, can we have these photos? And also, did you run DNA tests?
Yeah, you're able to pick up. If you text him, there's an automatic thing that comes back of, I'm driving, please call me. And
Great. I'll call him then.
yeah. And he picks up and he says, Anderson, yes, is there something that you need from me?
Yeah, just wondering, can we have like all of the photos from the crime scene that y'all took? Also, I would love to know, and I'm assuming that y'all probably did this too, because you're all capable people. But did y'all run DNA tests of the most recent El Echo, and then the one that you took care of 2 weeks ago, just to make sure that all matches? Or
Yeah, we're in the process of doing that, but it hasn't come
Great.
back from the lab yet.
Sure, can you let us know when that does?
Yeah,
I'd be very curious myself.
not a problem. And I can get you the crime scene photos, whatever I have access to in the morning.
Great.
They're
Okay.
not necessarily going to be highly annotated at this point. We just finished up the case. We're still wrapping up all the details. But
Sure.
yeah, I can at least get you the raw data.
Perfect. That actually is very helpful. Thank you very much.
Of course. Let me know if you need anything else.
Great. Cool. And then I go back inside and I report that to the group.
Yay.
Excellent. I'm going to gather a sample of the blood. Just because I can.
Sure. You can probably. What would you collect that in, out of curiosity? So this is at this point very dried, but you could probably scrape it off onto something. Do you
It's
have
dried
anything?
already.
Yeah.
I could probably. I have a knife in my pocket and my first responder kit. I probably have something I can keep it
Perfect.
in there.
Yeah, so you could definitely throw on a pair of gloves real quick. There's probably some plastic baggies in there that you could just improvise collecting your own samples if you want to do whatever you want to grab. That's totally fine.
Cool.
So, yeah, you're more than capable of doing that. Running your own tests at your own office if you so choose. That'll
Would
be
either you happen to have a black light flashlight or anything?
I probably do. I work a fair amount of forensic stuff. Can I go look at my truck?
Now that's an interesting question. What is your forensic skill? 50%.
Sure is.
Same.
No, you didn't declare it in advance, so I will let you both roll a forensic skill to see if you happen to have a black light and potentially luminol as well. So that's what you would be looking to interact with, would be a luminol device.
I'm rolling like garbage today. Oh,
Yay!
man.
Same.
Oh, dang.
Woohoo!
Okay. So I could say that yeah, potentially you have I'll say, Leah, you have a black light. If
Great.
you really want to mess around with it, but you don't have any luminol. Dr. Winter's same. You don't have any luminol on you, and that's really what you would use in this case to like see where all the blood is located, other than where the stains clearly are.
Yeah. Well, this is what I got. Sorry, I think I got to clean my truck out a little bit, but
No, that's fine. That's fine. Why don't we? There's a whole lot of blood by this front door, and that chair clearly had a very unfortunate day. Why don't we see if there's anything unusual that the black light might pick up?
Great.
Sometimes, actually, check these walls too. Sometimes these cartels like to leave little messages and whatnot that you can't always see right away.
Sure.
Sure, yeah, you guys are you can certainly turn off the lights inside of the house. These floodlights are probably still going to stay on, and even if you ask the people outside, they'd be like, "We're instructed to keep these on unless for an emergency." But yeah, if you I guess this would be probably a search technically. I will let you guys roll that with it'd probably be specifically Leah. But yeah, you all can roll to observe of what you're potentially seeing.
Haha! Okay, that is a 19, which is a success for me.
Yay! Did I really consult with Amy today? Yes, I did, and it was specifically about this. So great.
Ah.
I also succeeded.
Yay! Cool.
Success for you as well.
Awesome. Okay, great. So you turn off the lights. It's basically a main light that's sort of in the center of the room. There's some other little lamps dotted here and there, but generally speaking, the light that's been on has been this center light that also has a big fan on it. You turn off that light and you are able to okay. You're able to turn on the black light. Now I've been told that luminol basically dissolves relatively quickly. So you may catch some trace luminol stuff. You find two things that are very interesting. Thing one, in case you weren't aware, scorpions are black light reactive, and there is a scorpion just to the left of the front door. It's small. Probably a native species, especially for those of you who have been in Texas before. It's not the kind of thing that you necessarily have to worry about, but now you're aware that there is a small scorpion at the front of the door. The other thing that all three of you may find interesting is, yes, the blood on the chair and the blood on the floor react lightly. The entire door frame lights up, and parts of the walls on either side of the door. And the further you shine this light around the room, almost every single wall lights up. And more so even than the blood itself that is on the floor. It is bright. It is somewhat fluorescent. It is strange.
Now, just what in heaven's light does that mean?
Someone either had a really bad time or a very good time in here.
Oh, yeah.
I am now very much regretting asking for you for that black light. So, either you, I would imagine, might have more medical knowledge than me, but I'm gonna just go out on a limb here and say, even if a fella was in this here unfortunate chair, there's no way they're spraying the walls like they decided to wallpaper.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And that is relatively accurate, Coyote. Yeah, it looks like somebody basically took a bucket of paint, several buckets, in fact, and just sprayed it along the walls. Now, when you turn the black light off, it doesn't look like there's anything. It's all wood paneling on the sides, so it doesn't. Nothing's fresh, but it is. Anytime you turn the light off, you can definitely see a distinctive glow all throughout every single wall.
Well, I hate that.
Yep.
I'm going to get a sample of the wall or wallpaper or whatever is there, keeping my gloves on and bagging it up.
Sure, yeah. You are welcome to scrape a chunk of the wood paneling off. Let me see if I would get you to roll something there specific, Dr. Winters.
Forensics.
Yeah, do a forensics. I want to see how deep into this you can get.
Oh no, wait, I reset it. Never mind. It's like, why is that not a roll? I passed.
Okay.
50 out of 50.
Great. Yeah, as you're scraping the wall, and you're mostly just getting a chunk of the paneling as it's coming off. You do notice that the wall is somewhat flimsy. Like it's kind of bowing while you're pushing on it to scrape stuff off of it.
Oh man.
That was way easier than it needed to be.
So, y'all thinking what I'm thinking? We just see if there's something behind the wall. Maybe.
Yep, that's pretty much exactly what I was thinking.
All right. Well, I got a knife.
I pull out my Glock.
I am curious how you're going to take down this wall with a knife and a gun.
Well,
but
the thing is, you just like punch through it, you know, like angry white guys do it all the time. So why can't I?
Okay. So is that what you want? You want to punch through the wall? That would be a strength check.
I mean, I don't know if I'm committing to that hard. I'm just saying that like they do it. So
You know what?
If you're going to do that, put on sleeves and gloves, please.
okay, and I guess I'll go find some sleeves and gloves because I guess I'm committing to it. My strength isn't that high, but I said it, so here we go.
I have sleeves for you. Take this.
Thank you. I would like to use my little help because oh no. Oh man, that's a 50, which unfortunately does not go.
Yeah, unfortunately, you have a 40 in strength. So you are. Now, I will say it does help that Dr. Winters gave you a coat and some gloves as you are pulling or trying to punch through this wood paneling. You are definitely not injuring yourself or getting things on you per se. You are certainly able to somewhat cave the wall a little bit. And the more you do that, the more it starts to smell really bad.
All right. So I think we stop right there and then figure out another way. It's kind of starting to smell. I don't deal with smells well.
And all of you are going to notice that Dr. Winters in particular, this is the stench of death. And it's surprising that up until now, it probably as you were walking into the crime scene, you probably just assumed that the smell of death was due to the blood that was on the floors and the people who had unfortunately expired in this room. It is becoming much, much stronger.
I have something to help with that. I pass out masks.
Yay!
Appreciate it. All right.
Look at this. You could do
Very
drywall
bad.
if you felt like it. This is great.
Well, now that you mention it, no.
I will put a mask on and then flip my Glock around and use it like a hammer to try and knock a hole in there.
See, now that's smart.
Okay.
You use
I would
something to
still,
do it.
this is not a firearm skill. This would then be a strength skill as well.
69.
Nice.
A critical success. Our first of the adventure. I love it for you.
Good.
Briefly. So yeah, as you are you start pounding on the wall with the back of your gun, and eventually you break a hole in, and then from there you are almost able to hook the butt of your gun in and pull. And as you pull, an entire section, probably 3 feet wide, to the top of the roof, so it's 3 feet by 8 feet, 9 feet ish. You are able to yank a section down from the wall, and it clatters to the floor. And and what you see in front of you, somewhat sandwiched into the wall itself, is a half desiccated corpse. It is about 6 feet tall. At this point, kind of nondescript, sort of odd looking. It looks desiccated. It's like there's no blood or anything left in it. It looks like it's probably been here for quite a while. And just to the right of it is a slightly less desiccated additional hand. And I would like all of you to roll a, what do we call that? This would be a sanity roll for discovering some unnatural happenings that are going on inside of this house.
Oh boy.
Who baby?
I'm good.
Great.
I'm good.
I'm also good.
Great. Thankfully, all of you have dealt with traumatic situations in the past, so it's not super crazy. You weren't expecting to find a body in the wall. Certainly not more than one. And what's coming in handy right now is that all of you have training in dealing with these kinds of situations. Coyote, probably you more than anything. You were even kind of calling it that there could be bodies in the walls. And this
Coming in handy.
Coming in handy.
oh Lord, sorry. Oh, the goblins have arrived. Good.
I am
Happy for this.
Good.
staring at this body. Look around at the rest of the walls. I'm almost afraid to ask, but do we think that there might be more than one?
I mean, I gotta hand it to you. I think there might be.
Glue Master, please mark this time frame as what we need to tell Chris Koya about clips later.
Oh,
Somebody else makes
no.
a clip of you. Good times.
I would like to do a biology check to see if I can tell any details about the desiccated body, specifically gender.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be, yeah, go ahead and roll that. I will give you as many details as you like.
Got a 15 out of 80.
80. I was going to say, you are very good at this. Great. Cursory glance, at least based on the clothing that's sort of still intact, you would presume that this person, 6 foot tall, is probably a male. Skin color, you can't necessarily tell at this point. It's desiccated. You can see on the chest of this particular corpse that there are very obvious stab wounds. It looks like it was probably stabbed in the chest at some point. And that is more than likely how it died. There's lots of dried blood on the chest as well. It looks like it was probably killed and then later stuffed in the wall. This is not a something that happened recently, and it's probably not something that happened here.
Are there any defensive wounds? Like it was trying to defend itself from it?
If you look at the hands, I mean, it's hard to tell. You can see some rudimentary ligature marks on the wrists, so chances are it was probably tied up. But you don't really see any defensive wounds. It doesn't look like it struggled necessarily. It just looks like it exsanguinated.
Okay. That leads me to think that this was an execution, or, I hate to say this, a sacrifice.
Is anybody
Just
else
speculating.
Does anyone else find it a little coincidental that our zombie echo was stabbed to death, and now we have another potential zombie stabbed to death in a wall?
I sure don't like it. But it really does make me think we should maybe take down the rest of the wall and see what else is in there, though.
Dr. Winters, I also want to point out something that just occurred to me. You do notice an anomaly under the basically the right eye socket. It looks slightly deformed in the sort of cheek area. It doesn't look like a stab wound or a scar or anything like that. It just looks like a weird bulge. You're not quite sure what that would be.
So there's definitely something going on with its face. I'm hesitant to do anything further with it, but definitely something going on that's not natural.
Well, do we want to tear through walls, or do we want to have those two kindly officers sitting outside come in and help us with this?
I'm going to say this now. You as Delta Green agents cannot ask anyone else to interfere unless you want them read in as well. You are trying to eliminate factors. So whatever you're about to discover potentially in here, you are welcome to discover, but you should probably keep everybody else out of it as much as possible.
Fair enough, fair enough. I rescind that.
Let's see. I hate saying this, but let's see if there's any other bodies in here before we go poking around with this one.
Sure. Is there anything in the room that I could use as like an improvised crowbar or something to try to get bigger panels off the wall?
Sure. Yeah, there's a broom in the corner.
I want to take the broom and I want to start prying the wall apart.
Okay. Yeah. You'll still have to roll another strength check to actually get the wall to come down. But yeah, you are more than capable of sticking the broom handle in there in between the gap in the walls. It doesn't look like there's any insulation in here, really.
That is a 4.
Wow. Okay, look at you. Yeah, so this time, as opposed to last time when you just tried to punch the wall, you are able to use leverage to your advantage, and you pull another 3-foot section of the paneling off. Another piece of wall comes down, and 2 more bodies are discovered.
Oh, great.
These are in less of a state of decay, and it occurs to you almost immediately that there is a striking resemblance between these 2 corpses. Actually, all 3 of them. They are the exact same person. And I need you to roll an additional sanity roll for encountering the unknown.
Ooh.
Oh, goody. Yeah, I failed that.
I'm good.
Oh. Wait, I'm sorry. That was a critical failure.
Ooh!
The 99.
Ooh, exciting.
Oh,
okay.
No, that is a failure for me by 2 points.
Okay. It is. Okay. Not bad. All right. So, Dr. Winters, although you did succeed, this is the kind of thing where encountering the unknown is just going to cause you to take a point no matter what. So you take 1 point of sanity damage for encountering the very disturbing and unknown. Leah and Coyote, you two, Dr. Winters a lot more analytical and kind of just like, oh, interesting. This is the same person. I wonder if they're triplets. Like, you two, this is so unnatural and weird. You are going to each take 2 points of sanity damage that I ruled for. So, yeah, this is legitimately the exact same person. And what's even more disturbing, Dr. Winters, now you can see the original corpse that you uncovered is probably 3 or 4 months old based on the desiccation level. The 2 new corpses that you have encountered, one of them is probably more in the 1 month stage. The other one is probably closer to maybe 2 weeks, something like that. There are maggots crawling in and out of its face. All of these faces have the exact same anomaly. There is a random strange bulge under the right side of the face around where the cheek is. Observing this body now, you can see that it is a probably presenting as a Hispanic male, probably even giving the bloating of these corpses mid-30s, short cropped hair, no really other distinctive features based on what you're seeing. They're all wearing different clothing, but yeah, this is, you could almost guarantee that's the exact same person.
Well, I was joking about it being a zombie man, but I think zombie might be a little inaccurate at this point.
You know, I think you're right, but at least we know where the 2-week-old corpse is, I guess.
Well, I thought the 2-week one was in a morgue.
Oh, there's
somewhere.
another one. Yeah, you're right. There's
No.
2-week-old corpses, you know, just chilling there.
I might be manifesting something, but I don't think that I am. The gang was called Los Echos.
Right.
Echo.
Oh, you mean like there's a couple? Yeah.
You think the entire gang is
Just
the
the
same
same
one of them?
person? Well, now that's fascinating.
Do we need to contact Zeitland.
Sure.
I want to see if there is any photos of what El Echo looked like.
That was
Yeah.
a smart plan.
Yeah, I mean, he said he'd give us photos of the crime scene in the morning, but I think it wouldn't necessarily behoove us to try again. So,
I'm curious about this thing on their faces.
I mean,
don't necessarily want to touch it, but
Well, hell, at this point, let's take a look. And Coyote's just going to reach into the freshest one and yank the body out.
Lovely.
why would you take the
Tasty.
freshest one? Take the deadest one.
Because if it's some kind of bulge or something, then it's like holding the head, then maybe we can figure it out better as
Okay.
opposed to the dry.
I will let you pull it out of the wall, and it hits the floor with a fantastic thud, just straight down, kind of squelchy. There's a
Ooh.
lot more juice to this one than there is in some of the others. Clearly, being outside has desiccated some of the corpses a little bit more. I mean, it is a very dry environment, but this one being much fresher has some bloat to it. It's not nearly as skeletonized as the other, the first one that you found.
all right.
Does this one have stab wounds in his chest?
No, it does not. It actually has a through and through gunshot wound in the forehead.
All right.
You didn't really see it necessarily because of the bloating on the face, but as you've pulled it down and it just lands face first onto the floor, you notice the catastrophic damage at the back of its head. It is clearly someone, again, probably execution style, shot it in the face.
All right. So did we take down all of the wall, or are there more walls?
You've cleared about 6 feet of probably the left-hand wall that is inside of the
Okay.
living room. So you've probably behind the couch, but between the couch and where the cabinets start in the kitchen.
Okay.
There's plenty more wall where that came from.
I don't know that I want to keep going to this wall.
I'm gonna look at the rest of the group, be like, so just on the off chance that, and listen, I don't think I hear anything weird coming from the walls. But just on the off chance that somebody's not quite dead yet, and assuming there's more people behind the wall, I'm just gonna leave that. That's somebody else's problem, not ours.
You know
So,
what? There's a way to check that.
oh no.
Coyote's gonna, using the butt of his gun, just kind of walk to each wall and just start
Are you
tapping
just
the
gonna
wall
knock on the
to
corpse's
see
walls?
if it sounds, see if they squish or if there's echo or no echo.
If there's any movement, I'm out of here.
That's
Delightful. Yeah, you're able to tap on all of the essentially exposed walls that you can get to. They all come back with varying sounds. Nothing knocks back, thankfully, but
That's great.
there's definitely
That is good.
There are a couple that you knock on. None of them are hollow. It is very obvious that some of them are squishy. Actually, one in particular you knock on, and there's some blood that squirts out of the other side. Kind of splats you in the face.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. Oh man,
Now you know why masks were important.
you're
Yes.
right.
Actually, can you roll me a dexterity roll for that? I just want to see how badly this hits you, out of sheer curiosity, because you are not paying attention while you're doing this. You're just
That is a 62, which is a failure.
okay.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So you are knocking on the wall, and things squelch out, and some of it unfortunately gets in your mouth.
Even though we're all wearing masks.
We are all wearing.
Oh,
masks.
you're right. Never mind. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it goes right over your mouth. Probably close to your. It probably gets close to your eyes. You should definitely clear that off as soon as possible. But you're the only one that's gotten direct blood spatter at this point. Everybody else has been, in spite of the corpse flattening on the ground. You are right. Since you guys are all wearing masks, you were not inhaling the blood.
I am very glad I have half a margarita in my car still.
Love you.
I have alcohol wipes in my medical kit.
Yay.
Matt, I have one of those, please.
Right.
I mean, let's not knock the margarita idea because I think we all deserve one after
I
this.
think we should all go for margaritas after this.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm gonna very quickly clean my face up.
Cool.
Oh,
I'm going to inspect the body that's laying face down and the mass on its face.
Sure. It is a dead weight, so you probably need Leah to help you flip it over. But now that you both have gloves and things on, you shouldn't get any major transfer. Still very squishy. Probably going to end up with some goo on you at some point. How would you like to examine this? Do you want to do like a full, like you're not going to do a forensic exam necessarily, but you can. What do you want to do specifically with it?
I'm debating between forensics or just biology.
Okay. I will give the difference is whether or not you pull out a scalpel and start cutting.
For now, I'm not going to do that. I want to do a topical examination first.
Okay. So I would do biology for that. You can certainly roll it. That'll just give you an idea of how. I presume you're probably going to succeed. I'm just curious if you didn't, what's going to end up happening.
I did not.
Oh my God. Wow. You have an 80. That's ridiculous.
I have an 80 and I rolled a 93.
Oh, no. Okay. I mean, you can certainly tell, based on facial features and whatnot, you can kind of palpate the mass. It's a hard mass. It's not really squishy. It's probably not consistent with a
swelling.
Yeah, it's not like a swelling. It's not like it's like a big pimple or something weird. You can do kind of a cursory examination of the rest of the body. Clearly it was killed, single gunshot wound to the head. There are no other marks on this body in particular. There is a really interesting tattoo on the left forearm. Very particular, looks pretty distinct. Kind of faded, so it's probably been there for a while. Yes, if you were to examine the other corpses, you would find the exact same tattoo.
Okay. Do either of you recognize this tattoo? Does this mean anything?
I might.
yeah, say that might be more your field, but I'll take
yeah.
a gander at it too.
Yeah.
I would say for this, you in particular, you're probably, I wouldn't call this forensics, but I would call this law for you, Leah, because this would delve into your FBI statistics. Coyote, I'm not sure, because this would be related to your dealings with drug organizations. So I wouldn't say law for you. I'd almost say something else. What you can make an argument if there's something in particular you think would work best for this.
I don't know, because most of his, I don't. I don't know that he'd know enough to really pay that much attention to tattoos. More or
Yeah.
less, if they're shooting at you, he's concerned.
Right. So I could say, based on that knowledge, this isn't necessarily a tattoo that you've seen on other drug cartel members. This is not something you would associate with Sinaloa. This is not something. And El Echo is Los Echos, the group. El Echo, the individual. Echo, the drug. Los Echos are a relatively new organization. They've probably only cropped up in the last year or two, so you just haven't dealt with them enough to know what their signatures are.
Yeah.
Leah, what did you get?
I got a 62, which is a fail.
Dang. It is a looks vaguely Spanish Mexican in orientation. It is like an eagle with a snake, so similar to the Mexican flag. But what's interesting is that it looks almost like the eagle is repeated, like it's like a black lined eagle, but then underneath that is like a purple line, and then underneath that is like a green line, and they all kind of go off of one another. So it's not. It almost looks like if you were to take your glasses off in a 3D movie theater, and you would see all of the lines going around specific objects you're supposed to look at in 3D. That's kind of what the tattoo looks like.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really strike a chord with me either, but I mean, it kind of looks like an echo eagle thingy.
Hmm.
Not that that's helpful, but
Why don't we send a picture of that to the handler, see if he knows if that is or was on his echo.
Yep. You can take a couple of pictures of it. Again, it takes a while for you are still experiencing some of these technical issues. It is still kind of blurry. And if you eventually can text it to him, I mean, if you wanted to step outside of the house, you're still going to get the I'm driving. He's probably making his way back out.
I'm actually going to step outside and call him.
great.
All right.
I will call our dear handler.
Sure. He picks up after the third ring. This is Zeitlin. What can I do for you?
Zotland, Coyote Jones. So you know how you were speculating that El Echo is unkillable and whatnot? Well, we found another Echo and another one and another one. And I'm fairly certain if we tear the rest of these walls down, we're going to find a whole lot more of him. Your Echo that you killed, I'm figuring at this rate you might have killed one of him, but there somehow or another appears to be multiple dead Echoes in this house.
Okay. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but that's interesting. You sure it's the same person?
All have the same build, same tattoos, same facial markings. Our good doctor here has been eyeing them up, and as far as we can tell from the several that we've pulled out of the walls, they're all the same person. They're just in various states of decay. They look like potentially somebody's killing them and then stuffing them in here as like I dare say almost like a refrigerator unit, except it ain't got no fridge, so they're just a lot of rotten happening. Surprised your people didn't notice the smell.
I think after everything that happened during the raid, we were all probably a little rattled. Yeah, I wasn't expecting there to be more bodies. Interesting. Okay. I can definitely send a specialized cleanup team. You just let me know when everything's cleared out, and I will make sure that Delta Green specifically handles this. Chances are we will probably have to deny a lot of what you're looking at, but keep it under wraps, and we'll continue to investigate what you need.
Roger that. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna text you a photo of a tattoo that's on the arm of one of the ones we pulled out. Let me know when you are not driving, cause be safe. See if this tattoo is something that you recognize, or if it might have been on your version of Echo.
You hear him do like a really deep sigh. It's like, is it an eagle with a snake?
Yes, it is, with a bunch of like, well, for lack of a better term, shadow echo outlines around the eagle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the same guy.
Well, look on the bright side. You're not crazy.
Fair enough. All right. I'm going to go home and probably take some Ambien, but as soon as I get up tomorrow morning, I promise I will get in touch with you and give you the information that I have.
Roger that.
And I will let my secure channels know to clear the house. So as soon as you guys are done, whatever you want to take with you, feel free. But I will make sure that the house is secured. And you would definitely know, Coyote, secured probably means raised. Like
Yeah.
whatever they find, they are
Yeah.
going to raise this house to the ground and you will never be able to find it again.
Yes, I support this. All right, sir. Get some rest, and I will notify you as soon as we are done here.
Excellent. And he
Hang
hangs
up.
up. Yep.
Head back inside. Yeah. So our poor boy is a little stressed out now. He confirmed that their tattoo is on the one he killed, and when we're done here, he's gonna have his people come and handle all this. So unless you have a burning desire, I don't think we need to take any more wall panels down. I think we can safely assume what's behind them.
You're right. Yep.
Do we want to find out what is going on in its cheek?
I think that will be smart, considering it seems to be something that they all have going on.
I think it might not be a bad idea.
Pretty sure I could remove whatever it is. I want you to be aware that I'm about to go into this thing's face.
Well,
I mean, luckily,
look on the bright side. The size of the hole in his head, I don't think he's going to get up from it.
it's true. And I mean, listen, you hit something you're not supposed to, there's a bunch more in the walls.
Coyote kind of pauses and then is like, but all the same, pulls his gun out and aims it at the head.
You know, you're right.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Everybody's drawing down on a corpse that still has things crawling in it.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, you are welcome to. At this point, this would be a forensics roll. And
Right.
you do have helps. You are less well skilled at forensics than you are at biology. There we go.
I'm good.
Great.
12 out of 50.
Yay. Excellent.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so you are able to sort of excise this mass. It is hard, it is oddly shaped. You don't know a ton about dermatology, but it doesn't really look like a dermatological mass either. I mean, it looks like odd, weird looking, kind of bulbous and squishy.
Organic.
Yeah, definitely organic. And if you were to try to cut into it, it's not going to explode or anything. There's nothing hiding in it. It doesn't wiggle in your hand. Thank God. There's nothing strange going on within the mass itself. You would probably need a lab to get further analysis, but this is definitely an anomaly grown within the tissue itself. It looks like it was mostly embedded underneath the skin, inside of almost inside of some of the muscle tissue as well, which is unusual. Normally, if it was like a cyst, it would be sitting on top of all of the muscle tissue. This goes inside, almost down to the bone.
Ugh. All right. I'm going to bag this thing up as well. And I don't know what else I can get from all of this. I need to get this back to what would be a good medical center to go to? Probably the University Medical Center of El Paso.
Ooh, yeah. We could
They
definitely-
probably have the facilities I would need.
we can deal with that soon.
I'm
Is there anything else that you guys want to do to wrap up the house?
just gonna take a look through the bedroom real quick just to see if there's anything that looks like one of these things might have been staying here at some point, or if this just was somebody's drop house that they unexpectedly had in the people in the walls.
Sure. Give me a search roll. I am curious to see what you would find out here.
That would be a success with a 22.
Ooh, 22
Mm-hmm.
as a critical success. Yay.
Yeah.
Ooh, how exciting.
I forgot about that.
Yep. So you look around the bed and there's a little like a small sort of wardrobe that's not inside of the walls. It's sticking on the outside. You kind of look around in there. You are able to find women's clothes, probably looking like late 90s ish, based on the general fashion. They're mostly dresses. Coyote, to you, this looks like someone's abuelita, older woman's type stuff. And as you dig through everything, you do eventually find a picture in a picture frame that has a elderly looking woman and an elderly looking man sitting on probably the front steps of this house with a couple of kids around them. This is an old photo. I think it's probably still has the stamp at the bottom of like 2008. But you can definitely recognize one of the dresses in the dress in the photo is one of the dresses that is hanging up right now. And you were able to find at the very, very bottom a bill that has been clearly misplaced, and it says Anita Colon, and it has a P.O. box that is located inside of El Paso.
Fascinating. All right. I will bring the photo and the bill out and we found out who the original, or at least one of the previous owners that's not a dead corpse, is Anita Cologne. She's got a P.O. box up in El Paso, so maybe we might want to see if anybody knows where she is and why she's got a bunch of bodies in her walls.
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea. We'll take a look, see if we can find anything.
I think I've gotten all I can from here.
Great.
Yeah, I think I am more than ready to be out of this death house.
I think I think that's it for me as well. So let's get out of here.
And the three of you head out of the house, and the small scorpion that was at the front skitters out of your way and crawls back under the walls to hide probably amongst some corpses. And we will end it there for tonight. So, yay! I'm so excited.
Corpse wall. Corpse wall.
Corpse wall. There. That does sound like a cool metal band name.
Yeah.
Corpse
Oh yeah.
wall.
Corpse wall.
So why don't we now at the moment take a moment to introduce our players and who they are in real life and anything interesting that's going on in your lives. Corpse wall open for Slipknot. Oh my God. Thanks, Bird.
Well, the corpse wall opened for us.
Yeah.
And they lent a hand.
Hey.
Yeah. Mark that as another bad clip. All right. Coyote Jones, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us if you're doing anything interesting?
I am Vince Smith. I work with Swords and Stories. We just finished a run at the New Jersey Renaissance Fair, and we are still actually running a fundraiser for rescue. You
Ooh.
can check out our Facebook page that has all the information about that, as well as a couple of the giveaways that we are giving to those who donate, because rescue is amazing.
Yay!
Yeah.
That's right. We donated some stuff to it. I'm curious to see who wins all of our random junk. It'll be great.
Yeah, it's been a very cool turnout. I think we're at about 250 right now for donations so far.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, that's me.
Cool. I will go down to Leah Anderson. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you've been up to?
Hi, I'm Maddie. I am a part of Chase Treasure, and I'm opening Colorado Ren Fair this weekend.
Gosh,
And
God, it is this
so
weekend, isn't it?
It
Oh,
is.
Lord.
I'm so excited. I wrote a whole bunch of new verses and stuff.
Yay!
It's gonna be a great time. You can see me there all season, and it's Goblin Hours, baby. That's it. It's just Goblin Hours.
Yeah, that runs, gosh, is that a 6-week, 8-week run?
It's an 8-week.
8-week
I
run.
run this weekend until August 7th, I think. 6th, August 6th. Time is weird.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There's a lot going on. Yes. Cool. And Dr. Winters, that way. Why don't you tell us who you are and what you've been up to? Yay.
I am Mitch Gamble Ernst. I just completed a very successful run at the New Jersey Renaissance Fair. I stepped into the role of lead director this year, and I also play the Lady Viola. But that run is over, but it is Pride Month. And this weekend,
Look at
that's
that.
me. Look, that's me. I will be
Love it.
judging Drag Arena Act Nocturnal in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, with my incredible husband, Derek. We are both judging that night, which is going to be incredible. And yeah, I have gigs all throughout the month, but I can talk about those on other weeks because I don't know where I am half the time unless it's the week.
I know how that feels. Hi, I am Handler Z. I am also a member of Chase Treasure, and I should have put that in the thingy. But we are wrapping up the Oregon Renaissance Fair this weekend, and then we will have a small show happening in Washington State. It is called the Rusty Scupper Pirate Days. Good Lord. It's a super small show, but if you're interested, there's information on our website. I am also one half of Quill and Quote. I keep forgetting to post stuff on there. I feel so bad about that. I have so much content that I just keep forgetting. So I making the goal of tomorrow, making sure, and potentially tonight, making sure that I post more stuff on there. We get to do this, and we have a book too. That's right. Dare by Melissa Lee is a collection of short fiction and poetry. It's all horror based, and some dark romance, especially in terms of the poetry. We have there is a digital version that it is the softcover book is also available on Amazon. You can listen to it on Audible. It is narrated by the Gloom Master. Who is also I'm going to secretly bump the Gloom Master. They are working on an awesome project that I'm super excited about. Hopefully we'll be able to get permission to give out some more details, but he's completed up to like chapter 10 at this point of a male romance novel, and he has the voice for it, and I am like, I can't wait for the sex scenes. I'm super excited. It's late night on the channel. I'm allowed to say that. But yeah, it's going to be a really great project. Supernatural, no less. It is a vampire werewolf novel, which is very exciting. I'm loving it. It's so good. It's so good. We will give out details as soon as we are given permission to give out details. So as soon as I'm allowed to tell you more, I'll let you know. While we are here, we would also like to take a moment to thank some of our sponsors. I'm going to start with 3D2U. Thank you, Emmy Reader, for telling me about luminol and how it reacts to certain stimulus within an environment. Definitely appreciate you. You can check out their website, 3d2u.org. They are going to be, I know that they are going to be, I think this weekend at a festival in New Jersey. It's not a Renaissance fair. I think it's like a craft fair. So you can check out their information on 3d2u.org. We're also going to thank Nat21 and the regular NOLA adventure that is coming up, renadventures.com. There's going to be a lot of the players that you usually see on this channel, like Katie Hauser and the Gloom Master and a couple of other folks. They're going to be running some really cool content down in New Orleans in December. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, thank you, Sir David. The Marlton Craft Fair is where 3D2U is going to be. So if you happen to be in Marlton, New Jersey, you can check out their stuff this weekend. Yeah, that's everything that we have for this particular week. We will be back next week and we will continue this investigation and all of the strange things that are going on. But thank you so much for sticking around and stay spooky. We'll see you next week. Bye.